But when it comes to LeBron James, oh no, you pooping on a player. You dogging them.
LeBron James did something on live television that no active NBA player had ever done in relation to Shaquille O'Neal, and it left analysts like Stephen A. Smith visibly stunned at what was unfolding. But what made the moment even more explosive wasn't just what happened on screen. It was the buildup that had been developing days earlier, especially comments Shaq had made about Bronny James that allegedly struck a nerve with LeBron. LeBron James came into the NBA in 2003 as the chosen one, an 18-year-old prodigy from Akron carrying enormous expectations as the league's future face. By that time, Shaquille O'Neal was already a three-time champion with the Lakers, a dominant interior force who had redefined what a center could do since the era of Wilt Chamberlain. Their careers didn't meaningfully overlap as opponents, but LeBron openly respected Shaq from the beginning. Early in his career, he often described Shaq as the most dominant player in history, not as empty praise but as a genuine recognition of the physical dominance Shaq brought to the game. No one combined size, power, agility, and explosiveness quite like Shaq in his prime. And LeBron acknowledged that while building his own legacy at the opposite end of the positional spectrum. By 2009, Shaq returned the respect, calling LeBron one of the greatest talents the game had ever seen, when he was traded to Cleveland from Phoenix. From that point, the mutual admiration became public and consistent. When LeBron eventually passed Shaq on the all-time scoring list in 2017, he treated it like a moment of respect rather than rivalry, calling Shaq an all-time great. Shaq responded in kind, repeatedly stating that LeBron's legacy was already secure and didn't need extra championships to validate it. For years, their relationship stood as one of the cleanest examples of cross-era respect in basketball, two generational stars recognizing greatness in each other without insecurity. That bond even became official when Shaq joined LeBron on the Cleveland roster in 2009. The Cavaliers, coming off a 66-win season, believed Shaq could be the final piece to push them into a championship. At that point, Shaq was 37, past his peak, averaging modest numbers compared to his prime. LeBron, meanwhile, was 25 and playing at an MVP level with nearly 30 points per game, along with elite rebounding and playmaking. On paper, the pairing made sense, but his success depended heavily on timing and health. Shaq made his role clear immediately, famously stating his goal as one ring for the king, and even describing himself as a role player and protector. For someone with multiple championships, MVPs, and a legacy as one of the most dominant players ever, it was a striking public shift into a supporting role for a younger superstar. Shaq later reflected that LeBron operated with a level of leadership and maturity he had rarely seen, even during his own championship runs. LeBron handled accountability, preparation, and locker room presence in a way that impressed Shaq deeply. The chemistry between them was smooth, Shaq setting screens and creating space, LeBron finishing plays with authority, no visible ego conflict between them. Their partnership ended in disappointment when Shaq suffered an injury late in the season, and the Cavaliers were eliminated by the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. Shaq didn't blame LeBron, and LeBron eventually left for Miami the following year, a decision that changed the trajectory of the NBA entirely. Shaq later admitted that timing, not chemistry, was what cost them a championship opportunity. Even after that, their relationship remained strong for years. Shaq consistently defended LeBron in media debates on NBA on TNT, pushed back against critics like Charles Barkley when necessary, and praised LeBron's growth as a leader and cultural figure beyond basketball. In later years, Shaq even admitted something more personal. He felt a degree of professional jealousy that LeBron was regularly included in GOAT conversations, while his own name wasn't discussed in the same way. It wasn't hostility, but rather an honest reflection from someone measuring legacies across eras. Still, over time, the GOAT debate and constant comparisons slowly introduced tension into what had once been an effortless mutual respect. The shift didn't happen all at once. It developed gradually through years of commentary, opinions, and evolving narratives around their careers. Shaquille O'Neal, speaking regularly on Inside the NBA and various podcasts, has consistently placed Michael Jordan, and at times Kobe Bryant, above LeBron James in the all-time rankings. His argument often revolves around a single defining concept: fear. In 2024, he stated directly that he had heard opponents say they feared Michael Jordan, and others say they feared Kobe Bryant, but he had never heard that same level of fear associated with LeBron James. At the same time, he still acknowledged LeBron's skill set, durability, and versatility, but made it clear he did not personally rank him as the greatest. In one discussion, Shaq emphasized the championship standard he values when comparing eras. He pointed to Jordan's perfect 6-0 finals record and contrasted it with LeBron's finals history, using it as part of his broader argument about dominance under pressure. The intention wasn't necessarily to attack, But in today's media environment, every comment quickly becomes content, clipped and amplified into debate-driven narratives. Shaq's evaluation reflects a traditional framework of greatness, one built on championships, final success, and physical dominance rather than long-term statistical accumulation. It is an old-school perspective shared by many former players, where rings carry more weight than longevity or total numbers. LeBron, however, has often responded in a quieter but pointed way. Rather than engaging directly, he has used social media to highlight his consistency.
I'm gonna say one thing to you, Max. I don't know the numbers like you do. Michael Jordan is what in the finals? 6 and what?
Oh.
And what is LeBron in the finals?
Including posting about his streak of over 1,000 consecutive games scoring in double figures. He even compared it indirectly to Shaq's total career games, framing the moment with a caption that read, "Why is this so funny to me?" A subtle numbers-based response rather than a public confrontation. In another exchange, Shaq was asked directly about LeBron's place in the all-time debate. When questioned about ranking Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron, his tone became more intense than purely analytical. The discussion wasn't just statistical, it touched personal territory, especially when Kobe Bryant entered the comparison. The idea of placing LeBron above Kobe seemed to strike a deeper emotional chord for Shaq.
LeBron James, the greatest player ever?
Ever.
What about Michael and Kobe?
Tied to their shared championship legacy with the Lakers and the bond they built during their three-peat era, that connection to Kobe Bryant, and the loyalty Shaq still carries toward him, shapes much of his perspective. It isn't just about rankings, it's about legacy, memory, and the belief that what they accomplished together cannot be fully captured by numbers alone. During one heated moment on set with Dan Le Batard, Shaq even reacted strongly enough to suggest he might walk off the broadcast when the conversation leaned too heavily in favor of LeBron over Kobe or Jordan. That kind of reaction highlighted how personal these debates can become for him, far beyond simple sports analysis. These aren't just disagreements about basketball history. They reflect deeper identity clashes about eras, greatness, and what defines legacy. When Bronny James entered the NBA in 2024 after being drafted 55th overall by the Los Angeles Lakers and joined a roster alongside his father, the attention intensified even further. No second-round pick had ever entered the league under that level of scrutiny, and the spotlight surrounding him pulled multiple narratives together at once. That moment also helped escalate a broader tension involving Stephen A. Smith, whose long-standing relationship with LeBron James has been defined by both praise and criticism. Their conflict did not begin with Bronny. It has developed over more than a decade, rooted in disagreements about media responsibility, player privacy, and where the line should be drawn between analysis and personal intrusion. Stephen A. Smith has spent years commenting on nearly every major chapter of LeBron's career, from the Miami Heat era to his return to Cleveland, his time with the Lakers, and even Bronny's entry into the league. At the same time, he has repeatedly ranked LeBron among the top 2 or 3 greatest players in NBA history, maintaining a complex balance between criticism and admiration that has fueled ongoing tension in the public conversation. In the video, Stephen A. expanded his argument by stating that LeBron James is ranked number 2 all-time out of more than 5,400 NBA players, and questioned how being placed second in history could be considered insulting. He referenced legends like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Bill Russell to emphasize how rare and elite that position already is. He then shifted the focus to what he sees as a deeper issue: the changing relationship between athletes and criticism. According to Stephen A., earlier generations of superstars accepted scrutiny as fuel. Players like Magic Johnson, Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, and Isaiah Thomas faced harsh criticism throughout their careers but used it as motivation to improve. In his view, LeBron represents a new era where criticism is often interpreted as personal disrespect rather than professional analysis. He also publicly supported Bronny James, urging media outlets to reduce pressure on the young player and allow him to develop naturally without constant scrutiny. From Shaq's point of view, criticism should not turn into personal attacks, especially when it involves a young athlete building his career under his father's legacy. LeBron, meanwhile, has consistently maintained a controlled media approach. Whether through interviews, social media, or press responses, he carefully manages his public narrative. Even his responses to criticism are typically focused and strategic rather than emotional or confrontational. The video ultimately clarifies an important point. Despite the dramatic framing often seen online, there is no verified evidence of LeBron James attacking Shaquille O'Neal on ESPN or any platform. No footage, no reports, and no credible sources confirm such an event. Instead, what exists is a combination of real debates, selective clips, and exaggerated headlines amplified by the algorithm-driven media environment. What is real is more nuanced. A father defending his son, analysts debating greatness, former players offering opinions, and media personalities shaping narratives that generate engagement. In the end, the story is not about attacks, it is about perception, media framing, and how easily real conversations in sports can be reshaped into viral drama. If you want more deep breakdowns like this, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next video.